money's on the screen tonight. Secrets out in plain sight. Luxury homes at half the price.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Long time no see. I apologize. I was really busy. Now, obviously, the first thing I'm going to talk about is how LA fires will affect the housing market. People are going nuts.
Fast-moving, wind-driven infernos in the Los Angeles area have claimed at least 5 lives and destroyed thousands of structures. The raging wildfires spread to at least 30,000 acres in just over 40 hours.
First of all, I express my sincere condolences to people who lost their loved ones and their homes. This is a big tragedy. Imagine like you're investing the whole of your life to the main investment, and then something crazy happened and you lose pretty much everything. This is a historic thing. It was like going on and on. It's not the first time like California had fires. Wildfires are a recurring concern. They impact communities very badly. Literally a couple years ago, I think there was a town called Paradise. It was completely burned, but it was much smaller town then, and a much smaller scale of damage than it was now. However, the strange factor is that being a sixth economy of the world, and I've been to the different places that were like bigger economies than California, specifically Germany. I just cannot imagine how this could happen in Germany. I mean, let alone that it's not technically possible because it's cold there, but I'm talking about the readiness, the level of the readiness of the government. If something like this happens, they just react like this. There were like fires before, and most of the time what would happen is insurance would step in and cover the damage, and then it will just pretty much, the insurance price would probably go a little bit higher, but then people would get their homes back. Thank you for watching, and I would like to mention that this video is sponsored by my company. We help landlords to maximize their rental income. Normally, we take the property, say it's been rented for $3,000, we'll help landlord to make about $5,000 and charge about 10% from the profits. This is what we do. If you guys interested, if you're a landlord and looking for that company that would help you with getting more rent, just letting you guys know, I'm also a realtor in California. Any part of California you're looking for real estate, property for yourself, live with a family, or for investment, I'm your guy. Feel free to hit me up in the DM. Interesting fact I've heard a couple days ago, I was watching, I believe it was either on Facebook or Instagram. There was a guy who was comparing European houses to American ones. And the thing with European houses is no one builds out of wood as they do here in America, which is crazy to me because I also didn't grow up here. Everywhere I went, I saw houses being built out of stone or it's concrete. Most of the time it's a concrete, which is much more durable and is just cheaper and more efficient. They just put the wood on both sides and then they did put the concrete inside. It's called monolith, I believe, or something like that in construction, and they pull up the woods and voila, the house is ready. Why they don't do it in America is just a big secret to me. Probably because people just got used to it. The market was built upon this type of construction, and it's really hard to somehow reverse it. The effects, because the fires were not this scale before, were not that visible except the insurance prices going up. This time I think it will be visible, especially with all the amount of population displaced. The rents will skyrocket. As a realtor, I can tell you that we already got an email saying that board of realtors will find people who will try to, make money from the other people's strategies, pumping up the rents. But to be honest, I think that's just a plane in boards. You cannot hold people's greed. People will pump up the rent. It will go up even without fires, but with the fires and all the people who would need the housing, it will definitely grow up. It doesn't matter how the government will try to prevent it. You cannot have people forced into selling their own products, which in this case is a property or housing, at a certain price. It's not a communism. You cannot dictate the market prices. Obviously, the property values in the high risk zone will go down, which is weird because pretty much everywhere now is high risk. I actually had a client and we were checking the properties in Pacific Palisades. If you're not aware, there's a part of the coastal California which pretty much ended up falling into the ocean. So literally, some houses ended up in the ocean. And it was like a pretty luxury place. So what happened is the prices there went down like crazy. The properties that were worth like 2 million, they went down 1 million. Even with the new price, they had a hard time selling. They were sitting in the market for 2, 3, 4 months. I think eventually, with all the possible fires that could happen, people will try to back out with their offers, and it will be harder to sell those properties. Now the main question is, what will happen with all the damage? Will the government be able to enforce insurances to rebuild this? Will insurances have enough money to rebuild this? I mean, technically there is no other option. Either the insurances will have to cover it, or people who lost their houses would just get along with the fact that they no longer have that house. But I think that the government will step in and enforce that policies to be in place and help people to build their houses. At least I hope so. Obviously, the insurance premiums will go up, and that's just one of the negative effects. Also, the housing, there was already a lack of the housing in the greater LA area, generally in Southern California and California in general. But after this, I think it will just triple, because there is not enough housing, constant influx of people who are coming in California, and the regulations make it very, very hard to build. It's literally, this is my 5th year. I started in construction, and it's a small construction. It's not actually a construction or remodel, but I needed the permits because it's additional dwelling unit, or casita as they call it. It's pretty much the house, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, small house, the garage that was remodeled to the house. And it took me, I started in 2020, and now we're in 2025, literally 5 years. And this is considered to be one of the easiest places to do that. Although I've heard that they just passed a law that will pretty much let the people to get their permits, within a month or two, but I don't really think that will be implementable. For the specific project I'm talking about, I had to get at least 4 or 5, actually 6 redos of the permits and the general plans, and then I'm pretty much ending up that project right now. And just yesterday they texted me that I might need get another permit for the electricity, for the meter, which is crazy. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to me. Like, why would someone go build that house, that type of a house, lose this much of money when they can just go and do it in other state? I don't think, again, it will be easier to get the permits. The fact itself that you need the permits for your own house as an owner builder is weird to me, because literally a couple of weeks ago I had an inspection where the inspector came to me and told that, hey, are you sure it's safe? And I was like, yeah, for sure. It's up to code, everything. Yeah, all right, I'll sign it. And he was like, pretty much you end up with whatever the inspector will say. It doesn't matter if your permits are really good or you're not really doing everything up to code. You just have the permits. Inspector can have you pass from the first inspection, and they can just coming back 10, 15, 20 inspection and not let you pass. This factor, it has to be somehow fixed. There should be a person who would be controlling the inspectors, make sure that they're not messing around with people, helping them to pass their inspection. I've heard actually a couple of conspiracy theorists stating that the state of California is actually not interested in having those permits readily available and easily given to everyone, because then the housing prices will crash. As you know, California has almost the highest housing prices in all the nation. So that's one of the reasons maybe that why it's not happening. Obviously, there is also a climate change that is a factor in this type of cases. But honestly, I think the main reason that it got this big, and it's still going on actually, required preparedness by the government bodies that had to deal with it. I mean, why would you find someone who is parking in front of the water meter and then not have anything inside of that thing? It doesn't make sense to me. Then don't find people. Why are you finding people? Obviously, there are going to be a labor and materials shortages, especially now, like all contractors from all over the country are coming here. It was really hard already to find a good contractor, but after this, it's going to be really crazy. There are some grants and assistance programs, but they're not that, honestly, I think it's not as much as needed. I mean, what was also strange to me is that I was expecting many people to stay without homes, and it was just influx of people all around LA. but it didn't happen. I mean, you cannot literally see people around walking without homes, like homeless. Maybe it was before California already had the highest homeless count. I don't know, like this is really strange. Probably those people who had those houses there, mostly they were, you know, upper financial echelon type of peoples, and they were affording to have couple homes. Maybe that was a factor. Definitely it's going to have, say, on the negative side for the people who are customers for the affordable housing, because when there is a lack of housing, there is also a lack of affordable housing. There's going to be, at least there was supposed to be, temporary housing boom like Airbnb hotels, corporate housing, but honestly I have the houses all around that area with insurance companies and I haven't got a single inquiry. I think although they somehow softened it on the building code, eventually what will happen is the fire code will go even more harder, and it will be really hard to get those fire permits especially. So LA was actually losing population, which is very strange because all across LA, San Diego County, Riverside County, San Bernardino, Orange County, especially Riverside County, were growing in the population. I think Riverside County actually was the fastest growing county in all over the Southern California. Now LA was losing people. Now after this, I'm pretty sure it's going to be doubling, tripling in the numbers. Of course there are going to be psychological impact on people and their buying tendencies, but generally I think that market will adapt to these challenges because they get like hurricanes almost every couple months in Florida, and they pretty much, you know, try to rebuild. Actually, honestly, I think that the Florida is doing the best job with it. I've heard somewhere that there was like a hurricane and that destroyed a bridge, and literally after 1 week that bridge was ready again. So probably, you know, a little more efficient governance could help in this type of situations. But overall, I think that the market in LA area and generally in Southern California will keep rising. Considering the fact of the lack of the housing, it will going to be rising even faster, which is unfortunate because it's already almost impossible for average American to buy a property in Southern California with the current prices. You have to make somewhere around 20 to 30K, which is you're going to be top 1% if you will be making those money. And if you're top 1%, it doesn't make sense for you to live in LA unless you're working on a salary, because you will have to pay about half of your income in taxes to the state and the local governments. My condolences to the people who lost their homes. Hope it's going to be fixed soon. It will probably take a year or two to get back all of those houses, but I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and like this channel. Thank you.
Game money's on the screen tonight. Secrets out in plain sight. Luxury homes at half the price. Making dreams oh so nice. Click that play button now. He'll show you all the how. Mansions and condos, wow. Afford it all with his know-how.